right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for another round of touchdown times. We have episode 14 going on today. We're excited. We had another great week of football. Excited to talk about it and just talk football. I got Eli Savvy Sab with me. How you doing today, Eli?
How's it going, guys? Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good, man. Just really fun week of football. Some crazy endings to these games. Honestly, didn't expect it to be as good, but I think it blew last week's games out of the water. And yeah, just a lot to talk about. And got some fun matchups this week, especially a Super Bowl rematch. So pretty hyped for that. But we'll get to talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, definitely got some great rematches and also some great matchups coming this week. So I'm excited for another week of football. We're gonna do a week 10 recap, and then we're gonna follow it up with we're gonna do an interview as well as with our special guest. I'll introduce him in a second. Then we'll do a week 10 recap, followed by week 11 preview. Talk a little bit of fantasy football. I know there's some exciting things going on as far as fantasy. Eli will jump into the betting segment. We'll finish off with touchdown trivia and then wrap things up for you guys. But first and foremost, want to introduce our guest this week. We have Jacob Dolleton. Did I say that right?
Dolleton, yeah,
Dalton.
Dolleton.
Jacob Dolleton with us this week. So, Jacob, how are you doing today?
Good, man. Touchdown times. Thanks for having me on here, guys. I
Yes,
love talking
sir.
football, love talking a little smack to Eli's team, those tush push bastards, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely, man. Definitely glad
Yeah.
to have you on air, man.
Yeah.
We're just gonna talk. We're just gonna, do a little interview with you. I guess first and foremost, why do you love football? Like, what is it about football that you love?
Oh man, it's awesome, man. It's exciting. There's different plays. Every time it's like you expect something new. Like in the players. I mean, what sent it over the edge was for me though was fantasy football.
Mm,
That's what sent me over. Like not now I'm watching like all the games. Before I would
yeah,
watch my team's game. Now it's just all even those like crappy games you don't want to watch, but like oh I
yeah.
got that player over there, and now just like you want to watch football all the time now, and that's what I like. And nothing like sitting on a Sunday, cracking a cold beer, sitting with the boys
You
watching
said it,
all
man.
day, 8 hours straight. And I don't even feel guilty watching. You sit down for the whole time, you're just watching football. Like, man, this is a good
uh,
time.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, I feel as though fantasy football definitely immersed me in the NFL, knowing players, knowing stats, those type of things, and it just got me more engaged. So I definitely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, for real.
Um, yeah. So tell the fans who's your team and why they are your team.
Yeah, so my team's Los Angeles Chargers, formerly known San Diego Chargers. But I grew up in San Diego, and I started watching football around like '06, '07, right around LT, Ladainian
Prime LT.
Tomlinson. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
when he like was taken off, like he was like the top back in the league, and
yeah,
getting that single season touchdown record. That was when it really like got into football, and LT was just the guy for me. He's
yeah.
always been my number one guy, and I ever since then I've been following the Chargers.
Nice, nice.
How did it feel when they left? What were your
Yeah, man, it,
overall
it, it
thoughts on it?
hurts. It hurt for sure. It sucks. Because I mean, if they imagine it had like a SoFi Stadium in San Diego, that would be awesome. But
Yeah.
you gotta stay loyal, man. You gotta stick to your team. I know a lot of people jump ship. They're all hurt with San Diego, but I'm too invested, man. You gotta stick with the team.
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely. So, how from last year to now, how is the transition for the Chargers as far as development goes, in your opinion? And where do you see them ending up this season?
I mean, this season is rough, man. We had a lot of close games. I mean, last year for sure. I mean, I was very happy they even made playoffs, to be honest. And then that heartbreaker in man, I try to forget it, man. But yeah, but yeah, that Jacksonville game, it was tough, man. That one still hurts. But right now the season's going good. I mean, or not too good, but I do like Justin Herbert still looking. He's still carrying the team a big time. But man, I can speak for all Chargers fans when I say Brandon Staley might not be it, man. He might not be the guy, but I mean, he's supposed to be a defensive coach, and I mean, it's the defense is not looking the best I've seen, a couple years, but man, I want someone else, man. Maybe beat that sign stealer in Michigan, Jim Harbaugh. But I heard also, Bill Belichick's coming out too. Get the Godfather cheating on our team.
You're like, I don't care if we got to cheat now, man. Just give me a
Yeah,
freaking
man, just
championship.
get us a
He's like,
Super Bowl,
I
man.
want a Super Bowl.
But
Uh,
that being said, I mean, I don't think we're fully out just yet. I'm looking at the schedule. There's a couple tough games. I mean, we got to play the Chiefs again, obviously, but Ravens in 2 weeks. I think we could get the Packers this week. Um, yeah, we got to squeeze a couple of wins here and there, but I don't think they're fully out just yet. They're
yeah.
they're still looking. They're still coming up.
And I think they have the offense and they have the potential for a great offense, in my opinion, right? Justin Herbert, I think he's a top 3 fantasy QB right now, and he's been playing really well. And obviously Keenan Allen and some of these other guys on the offense, I feel like they have the weapons. Austin Eckler, I just feel like it hasn't gelled as smoothly towards the
Right,
end of the
man.
game, you know?
Right, right. I mean, man, that's. I heard you guys last week. Chargers gonna charge, man. They always got the players. They got the players to get there. They got the talent. It's just I don't know. There's just something. Oh, there's always something with them that just they can't fully put it together. It's frustrating, but I mean,
But they keep it close. They
they
definitely
keep it
keep it
close. Yeah,
close.
that's
Yeah,
that's why they
for
got these
sure.
primetime games. They want they
Yeah,
really get
at
the
least they're fun to watch, man. Like I
Yeah,
always love watching the
exactly, man.
Chargers
Yeah,
play.
exactly.
for sure.
Exactly. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks for giving us some insight into, football and your team and all of that. We're going to move into matchups of week 10 recap. We're just going to go through some of the week 10 matchups and just do a quick recap with them. We're going to start off with my favorites. Obviously the Steelers, they moved on to be 6-3. They won over the Packers 23-19, and the Packers fall short to 3-6, 3-6. It wasn't a spectacular game, but I thought we did really well as an offense, right? Kenny Pickett, 14 completions, 125 yards, 2 TDs, getting it done through the air. And then Jalen Warren on the ground, 15 carries, 101 yards, but Najee with the touchdown. Interesting, right? I think that keeps Najee fantasy relevant considering he's getting those goal line touches, but you can tell that Jalen Warren has taken over the snap share. So something to keep in mind as fantasy managers out there. George Pickens, 3 receptions, 45 yards. Looks like their pass game wasn't spectacular, but they really leaned on the run game in this one and came away with the win. It was a close game, but we came out on top, and a win's a win, and we're squeaking by as many wins as we can get, and we're 6-3 in the playoffs now. So we're getting through it. Did you guys have a chance to catch this game? Did you guys have anything to say on Green Bay side?
Yeah, man, the Steelers they just find a way to win, man. I mean, the 6-3. I mean, I didn't even know they were 6-3 until like I checked it. I'm like, man, the Steelers are 6-3 right now. But yeah, they're looking pretty good. I mean, it's interesting to have that two back combo with Jalen Warren and Najee. I mean, it's nice to have that back. Oh, well, like, what do you think about Najee as a Steeler fan? Like, do you think he should stay or you think he should be out of there?
No, so I think he fits into the culture so well. And on top of that, he's someone that can get you 5 yards like on a consistent level, right? And
Yeah,
those are
yeah,
those goal lines. Those are those those up the gut type of runs. And I think there's always been a fast and nimble type of back, maybe a pass catching back, as some people would say, and there's always been a power back.
right.
Najee was the hybrid when he first got into the league, and now he's leaning more to that power back. And his stiff arms are there, and he's a bigger guy. He's just not as agile as people would like him to be, but I still think he's good for the Steelers, and he fits into the culture really well. They're a young team. It's Kenny Pickett's second year. It's Najee's third year, I want to say. Jalen Warren's first year. George Pickens' second year. Deontay Johnson's a little bit older. He's been in the league for quite some time, but it's still a young Steelers team. So I think within the next 2 to 3 years, that's when everything will start coming together and gelling and being them chemistry sound. There's definitely some work to be done with Kenny Pickett, and I don't know how high his ceiling is, but he's definitely got the potential, especially around a
Yeah.
good young team. So I will give it on the other side. I'll talk a little bit about the Packers though. Jordan Love, 21 completions, 289 yards, 2 TDs. He did have 2 interceptions, and I think this is what kept us in the game. One of them being towards the end of the game, being a clutch interception to seal the deal. But I think turnovers definitely, play a part in the game. And I think Jordan Love, he did better through the air, but those costly interceptions. So Jordan Reed got a touchdown on this game as well. So it was a close game, but Steelers came away on top. Any thoughts on this game in particular?
Man, I pretty much agree with both of your guys' sentiments on the Steelers and as well as the Packers right now. And I think for the Steelers, they need to win these games. These are kind of their just the games you got to win against these mediocre teams somewhat. And I think getting into the playoffs, possibly as winning their division, it's gonna be a little tough with the Ravens, but they beat them already. So, but regardless, getting the playoffs and getting at least one dub, I think that will be it. Basically, your guys' mission for this season: get some experience for the younger guys on that team. Maybe see if Kenny Pickett is the guy who can actually, fight it when it's under a lot of pressure in playoffs. So, I think that's kind of where you guys should be at, and I can see it. I can see it being at 6-3. It's you guys have a pretty good shot. And yeah, for the Packers, this is tough. This is their rebuild year. I don't know if Jordan Love is the guy. They may have to give him one more year, but I mean, you may just have to cut ties sooner. And then I watched this game with you, Andrew, and this was pretty close, man. Jaden Reed, he had a couple of good plays where he just went off, and they almost came back.
Oh my
They
God.
almost came back a few times. So very close one. Luckily, your guys' defense pulled it out, which you definitely needed. So yeah, I think that defense is going to be very key when it comes down to these bigger games against better offenses.
Awesome. Anything that you want to add to this one, Jacob, before we move on?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I kind of agree with Eli with Jordan Love, man. I mean, he might not be the guy for that team, but yeah, I say give him one more year. But yeah, he's starting to show some cracks, man. I mean, he started off a little hot in the season, but yeah, he's starting to fizzle a little bit. And then yeah, the Packers are, yeah, they're one of those teams that are just like, they're not quite there yet. They're still in that rebuild, but yeah, they need a lot of players. They're not looking too hot.
Yeah, I personally think the Packers. This is the beginning of their rebuild, and they're gonna have to move some pieces around in order to find the pieces to be successful. But I think it's a lot of these first second time playing with each other in this Packers team. So the chemistry is probably just not there yet with some of the receivers and Jordan Love. So they definitely got some work to do. But we're going to move on into the Browns and the Ravens. This was a very exciting game. They kept it close. The Browns came out on top, 33-31. The Ravens fall just short, and they fall to 7-3. Still a great record in the AFC, but the Browns pick it up and they move on to be 6-3. And that AFC North is just a very competitive division right now. I'll toss this over to Savvy Sav. Did you catch this game? And if so, what were your thoughts?
I did, man. I did. And honestly, at first I thought this was gonna be a bloodbath. I did think the Ravens were gonna be able to take this, but Browns fought back, and I was genuinely surprised. I think there were points in the game where Baltimore was up like 17-3. It didn't look like the offense was going anywhere. And I think they just kind of started kicking the gear. I don't think Deshaun Watson had the greatest game of his life, but it was doable. It was serviceable enough. They got the run game going. And Lamar Jackson, I don't know what's going on with him this season, man. But 2 interceptions on the day. And I know you had him starting in fantasy, Andrew, and he wasn't really doing it for you, man. He was really looking rough out there. He was
He's looking
also
like a running back again, or what?
well, he was the lead rusher too. So I don't
Yeah.
know what they're doing when they have Gus Edwards to work with. It's just some weird decisions I think on their end with play calling. But yeah, they allowed the Browns to come back and get a game-winning field goal. So in Baltimore too, I think the Ravens have been playing their best at home. So it's tough. I think the Ravens they're losing to teams that are in their division. Losing to the Browns, losing to the Steelers. This may come back to bite them when it comes down to trying to fight for their top of the division spot. So, I mean, overall, a great game. I love to see it and love to see the underdog win. I believe that was Michael's underdog pick last week. So props to him for getting the Browns pick right.
Michael.
But Deshaun Watson going out now, getting season-ending surgery, that's going to be tough for them. I don't know if the Browns are going to be able to stay consistent after this. PJ Walker, I don't see him making a playoff run for them. But if they're going to be in it, it's their defense. And I'm going to start their defense in fantasy consistently because even against the Ravens, they put up some good points. So Overall, fun game, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting for both of these teams coming out after this. So, Jacob, you got any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, man, the Ravens they're just another they're just an inconsistent team. I don't know. I feel like it's might be in part of Lamar Jackson just not being, I don't know, that MVP quality like we used to see when a couple years back. But I like Deshaun Watson. He was showing some signs of flashes of like former Deshaun Watson, but it's a bummer he's out for the season. I mean, the Browns are being carried by their defense anyways, and that run game's still solid even with what's his name, Nick Chubb getting hurt, Ford, and even Kareem Hunt coming in there. They still have a solid run game. I mean, they're still very similar to last year's team, but yeah, it is a bummer that Deshaun's out. So I don't know. We'll see how that team goes. But yeah, that NFC North, the Steelers, Browns, and Ravens. That's going to be an interesting division, and the Bengals too. I mean, yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's going to be a toss up with that division.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm gonna jump in here, and as a fantasy manager for Lamar Jackson, it's the turnovers. He has, for every touchdown or every two touchdowns, he has one turnover essentially, or whether it's a fumble or whether it is an interception. And so I think that's bringing down a lot of his past 3 to 4 weeks as far as value. Just the turnovers are really hurting him as far as a fantasy manager goes. He's producing numbers. It's just the giveaways and the turnovers really hurt him as a fantasy player. And then I would definitely agree that coming out of this, it says a lot, right? It says Ravens are an inconsistent team. And how are the Browns going to react with a new quarterback at home is one of the bigger questions, in my opinion, for the Browns. And on top of that, what's their schedule look like for each of them for that path to playoffs? We know it's a tough division. Everybody needs something to happen in one way or another in order to be successful in that division because of who won who. But each team's path's different, right? So yeah, just to kind of touch on it, give you some stats: 20 completions, 213 yards, one touchdown for Deshaun Watson. He had an interception on the day as well. Ford, 17 carries, 101 yards, 2 TDs. He also was getting it done through the air. 4 receptions for 46 yards. He had a hell of a day, in my opinion, and he put up a good fantasy numbers that as well. Mari Cooper, 6 receptions, 98 yards. We know that this can be a high scoring offense. They put up 33 points, but with a new quarterback at home, how does that look and how does that chemistry work is my biggest question. So, yeah, I think it was a great game to kind of help designate, who's on top of who within the AFC North. But the Browns came out on top in this one. Awesome. We will move to the Texans and the Bengals. This was a pretty close game as well. It was pretty exciting. The Bengals came out, they fell short to 5-4. And the Texans, CJ Stroud put up some great numbers and they move on to 5-4. So they're tied. I guess I'll toss this one over to you, Jacob, first. Did you catch this game? And if so, what were some of your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I watched some of that game. It's yeah, that game was intense, man. CJ Stroud was starting off a little cold, but I mean, he could be in some MVP talks. I mean,
Oh
he's
yeah.
looking really good. He's up there as one of those guys to look out for the next couple years. But yeah, that team's looking good. I mean, the Bengals. And I don't know if Joe Burrow's injuries. I mean, he looked great today. I mean that game, but I don't know if his injuries still affecting him. I mean, and then again, also the Bengals defense hasn't been looking too good either. But yeah, was that Noah Brown with that, was that 172 yards? And yeah, that guy
Hell of
was
a
looking
day.
really good too. Yeah,
Hell of a day.
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, Jamar Chase is you still got that, was that 5 receptions for 124? That's good. That's a good game for him too. But
Mhm.
yeah, that game was intense. I mean, what was it? The last was it a like a was that the game where Joe Burrow threw that pick at the end there, or was that a different one?
It no, so it was a
It
field
was a field
goal.
goal.
It got
Oh, it was
Yeah.
a
tied
field goal.
twenty-seven
Okay, yeah, yeah,
twenty-seven, and then the Texans were able to drive it down.
yeah, yeah,
And they
yeah.
kicked the
That
field
was a
goal.
good comeback. Yeah,
Literally with a minute 33 left. Like
Yep.
they were able
Yep.
to do the
It
game
was
winning
it
yeah, yeah.
was
That's
touchdown.
right. That
clutch.
one.
It was
Yeah, that was
clutch.
super clutch by CJ Stroud. Yeah, that guy's good, man. He's
Yeah.
something.
No, he has definitely been proven it week to week that he is in my opinion, he should have been taken first as far as quarterback goes. 23 completions, 356 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception. The thing that stands out the most about me is just how much yards he's getting per pass. Because if you look at his numbers as far as yards goes, I want to say he's top 5 in the league as far as passing yards.
Yeah,
And
actually, I think it was Sam
yeah,
Howell #1 and him at number
yeah,
two. Yeah.
yeah, and it's insane. So he's getting per pass that he's completing his he's getting a lot of yards, which is surprising, especially for a rookie. But Noah Brown 7 receptions, 172 yards. That if you average that, I mean, you're getting a good amount of yards every reception there for your receivers. So he's been looking stellar. I would say he's a full start week to week now. Obviously play some matchups, but I would start him week to week. If you're in a pickle or if you need to, I would start him. I would think about definitely starting him week to week. On the other side, Joey B, 27 collisions, 347 yards, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions. He played well. He turned the ball over, and I think that's why they lost. 2 turnovers. That's hard. It was a close game. They definitely kept him in it. Don't get me wrong. Joe Mixon, 11 carries, 46 yards, a touchdown. Jamar Chase, 5 receptions, 124 yards, 1 touchdown. They kept things close. It was a great game. But I think it came down to CJ Stroud having the ball in the end and marching down and converting and kicking a field goal. It was a great game overall. I'll turn it over to you, Savvy Sav. Thoughts on the Texans and the Bengals game?
So for the upset last week, I was really debating on just throwing in the Texans for the hell of it. Wish I did. I couldn't pull the trigger just because I just didn't have that much confidence in them yet. But CJ proved me wrong. I mean, I think they went out. They were able to get the job done. They did the game-winning drive to win it, and I love to see it. That was so cool to see. And I have a lot of family from Texas. This is pretty much where a lot of my family comes from. Some of them are Houston fans, and man, I mean that team, they were just formed in the early 2000s. I still remember when they were formed as a kid. I started watching football. They were pretty bad consistently. They got Deshaun Watson, who I loved in college, and I was like, all right, maybe they got a shot. They were making the playoffs, and I thought maybe they had a chance one day to make a big run, and then all that went down with Deshaun Watson. It seemed like all their luck was bad again, and their move to get CJ Stroud was an interesting move, and I was hopeful for them, and I think that everything's finally coming to fruition. So they're on the right track. I'm happy to see it, and looking forward to this team in the future. And honestly, this matchup here could be an easy playoff matchup that's coming up. Like, you never know. So
Oh yeah.
overall, props to the Texans. Cincinnati, I think, has still got it. Sucks that they're in a tough division, but obviously with the Browns injury, I think. I mean, dude, I could honestly see like at least 3 teams from their division making to the playoffs. They may be beating
Same.
each other up, and who knows how it settles out. But I think they're all competent enough to beat most of the teams in the AFC. So it'll be interesting. I'm excited for this. But yeah, overall great game, and props to the Texans.
Nice. Thoughts on this one, Jacob? Or did you already went through it a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. We'll move on to the Saints and the Vikings game. This was, in my opinion, this was a game that solidified Josh Dobbs as being that guy for the Vikings. The Vikings win. They come out 27 over the Saints at 19, and Vikings move on to 6-4, and the Saints fall to 5-5. However, they are still first in their division, surprisingly. Yeah, I guess we'll start with Savvy Sav on this one. What were your thoughts on the Saints and the Vikings game?
I'd just like to say this. I was the only one who called the Vikings on this to win this game. You guys were both
True.
riding on the Saints last week. So, I'm still riding high on the Vikings. I think with Dobbs coming in, they were hot before Dobbs too. I think their offense is great. Their defense is serviceable. And this game showed that to me again. Man, I think my player of the year this year, just for fun's sake, is Josh Dobbs, dude. It's so cool seeing him being able to go out there and do what he's doing and to be able to put a team on his back and have a fighting shot, maybe take him to playoffs and maybe make a run. Definitely not going to get past the Eagles, but still love to see it for Dobbs. So, and then Jameis Winston coming in, I thought he actually was serviceable too. He still has his interception problems, but seeing Carr go down and then kind of reverting to him, I think that'll be I personally think it might be better for the Saints. I think it may get Olave more involved in there. Alvin Kamara had a decent game on the ground as well, but I think the key is getting Olave going, and I think Winston has a better repertoire with him. So if they want a chance to kind of keep their lead in their division, which they easily can, because that division is trash. So, yeah, man. But overall, good game for the Vikings. Glad they could win it. Shout out to our buddy Paulo in our league. You know, that's his team, and I'm happy they came out from that terrible hole they were in the beginning of the season. I thought they were done. And TJ Hawkinson also, he is one of my tight ends in two of my leagues, and I'm so stoked because he went off this game. And I think him and Dobbs also have a good connection. Apparently, they had practiced together in the off season. Like they have kind of like this duo they already formed
Nice.
that they've worked out together. So I'm hoping that continues to translate and keep him relevant. Because I thought when um, Kirk Cousins went down, that was maybe it for TJ. Like he wasn't going to be as elite. But thank God that they got Dobbs in there. The Browns could have gotten Dobbs too. That they had him and they could have kept him, and maybe that would have been their saving grace. But they decided to deal him off, and I guess this is what they get, right? They gotta.
Yeah, he looks really good on the Vikings, man. I think like his mobility versus Kirk Cousins' non-mobility too much. I mean that it helps the team huge for
Mhm.
that for the Vikings for sure. Who's the one who traded T.J. Hawkinson and Kamara, right? Do you have that in the
That's
league?
Paulo and Tristan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. He's probably loving that right now, especially with that Kamara only got what 42 yards, and then Hawkinson with the 134. He's probably stoked with that one. What a
Definitely.
trade.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean this game for me, like I said, it really solidified Joshua Dobbs as that quarterback for the Vikings. He's definitely pulling it off and I think they could be a playoff team with him at the helm. He's definitely got the mobility and the physical attributes to lead this team to victory. In my opinion, on the other side, it was nice seeing Jameson Winston go out and sling the ball. I do think it opens up the Saints as far as a downfield threat with Jameson Winston at the helm, and that's probably an increase in some targets and usage with Chris Olave. I agree with you there, Eli. But at the same time, interception ratio, it's definitely been a problem for him. So, yeah, one thing on this one, obviously, Alexander Madison went out. Ty Chandler, if you don't have him, if he's still available, definitely go pick him up. But yeah, he's a waiver wire target and will probably be active at least some sort of the snap share within the next two to 3 weeks. Um,
Is
yeah,
Justin Jefferson's coming back next week too, right? Or this coming
mm,
week?
I
maybe,
think he
yeah,
That's
might
gonna
might
that's
be.
yeah,
yeah.
that's gonna be an interesting one too with
That is going to be interesting
yeah.
for
But yeah, the
sure.
Vikings looking real good now with Dobbs, which is crazy to think that he was only there just started a couple weeks like last week, man. But
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. He was on the Steelers and then he went to the Browns and then he went to Arizona and then he went to the Vikings all within like a year to a year and a half.
that's
It's
insane.
crazy.
That guy's just a
It
baller, man. He just put the ball in his hand, he'll play anywhere, man.
yeah, yeah. We will move on to Jacob's team, the Chargers.
Oof.
Unfortunately, they do fall short. 38-41. The Lions came out on top, and they have a great record still, 7-2. The Chargers fall to 4-5. We'll start with you, Jacob. I know you watched this game. What were your thoughts
Yeah,
on
man.
the
Yeah,
Chargers and Lions?
I actually went to the game too. So I mean,
Sheesh.
it was a
Nice.
great game to watch. They were going back and forth. Man, Justin Herbert was slinging it, but he got that one pick. It kind of ruined our momentum a little bit in that first half. But man, it's tough, man. The defense gonna get one stop. We just needed one stop, and we could have. I think we could have won that game for sure. But man, the David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs, they tore us up. I when I was watching it in live, I mean, I had a different angle, but when I saw that on the TV, I'm like, man, these guys are making the defense look real foolish out there. It was tough, but and the Chargers are their offense is there. They just need that defense to get a couple stops in this game, and we could have came out, but it three was that Keenan Allen with that 175 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was killing it, man. He was like stiff arming people. I mean, the guy doesn't look like he's like stopping anytime soon, which is crazy to me. I honestly thought that we should move on from him, but man, he's showing up. I mean, I know Eli has him on his team. Shout out for you, Eli.
Hell yeah,
Big game
man.
for him. Yeah, he's killing it for your team, man. He's huge.
Fifth
But
round pick,
man,
baby. Fifth round
yeah,
pick.
that's right. Yeah, I'm hoping we get the running game back going. I mean, the Austin Eckler hasn't gone over 100 yards in a little bit, and it would be nice to get some pressure off Herbert. Having him to throw all the time. It could be tough. I mean, it would spread out the offense a little more, but yeah, that defense it's not looking good too right now. Especially, man, what's his name? Dan Campbell was just going in fourth down. Like he just had that much confidence in his team. He knew he was killing us in defense. And he would we went on that 4th and 2 right before the end of that game. I mean, he could have easily lost that game if they didn't get that 4th and 2. But man, we were playing some weird defense with Hawkinson getting that ball right in that 4th and 2. It was a heartbreaker, but life of a Charger fan, man, heartbreaker.
Oh damn, man.
Yeah, how was the atmosphere? Because it was at SoFi, right? How was the
Ah
atmosphere?
man, I
What
was
was the
getting confused.
crowds like?
The baby blue. I was like, oh man, I came in. I'm like, oh, this looks like a good like home Charger game. And then, man, when the Lions started going off, I'm like, man, this is not another home game for the LA, man. It's like it's all the
Dang,
Lions
the
fans, but
Lions run deep in
I
SoCal or
guess so,
what?
man. It's yeah, but I mean, I was still cheering loud. I mean, but the atmosphere was definitely it was a 50-50 split. I got season tickets to the game or to the Chargers, and it's always right down the middle with the fans. Like it's 50-50, but it's tough. It's tough to be at a home game, and you got the other team just as loud.
Yeah, no, when I went for the Steelers game and they were playing the Rams, the Steelers had like 80% like seating there. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't a home game and you could tell. And
Yeah,
that was
that's for both
crazy to
LA
me.
teams, man. That's
Yeah, I
even
think
the
it's because
Rams are
LA is
hitting
one
it.
of those popular spots, you know what I mean? Where it's
Yeah,
like, oh, we're gonna go somewhere, kind of like Vegas, where
yeah,
they'll
yeah.
just fly into LA and be like, hey, you want to go catch this game? You want to go catch this game? So, no, I definitely hear you out, but that's cool that you got to go to a game, catch your team, and it sucks that they lost, but you got to see them
It
live.
was a great game,
Yeah,
man.
it was a great
Yeah,
experience.
yeah. They were
Nice.
going back and forth, so it was fun. I like to
Yeah,
see some scores, so it was good.
nice, nice. Thoughts on this one, Savvy Sav? Catch anything that caught your eye?
I mean, just overall, I agree with Jacob on a lot of it. It just seemed like the Chargers were always chasing. They never really had a
Yeah,
solidified moment where they could just have the lead, give their defense a break. And I think getting the run game established would help a lot with that too. But it just seemed like luckily they had the offense to keep up. But
yeah,
when you get out of the end of the game, it's whoever has the ball last. And especially if you give up, they lost the turnover battle. They were the only team to give up a turnover. Lions didn't give up at
right.
all. So I think it's just small things like that. And this is a story for the Chargers. They lose these close games. They can never get on the right side of it.
I mean, like I don't even know how long. It's been like 10 years of this, man. Make it stop, someone, man.
Oh man, and I even when I watched them in San Diego, when they were here and I was living here, it was just always like that, and the sentiment from the city was always like, God damn, give us a shot, man, like like do something with this. But
No,
I love their
yeah,
offense, and I
yeah.
love.
Justin Herbert, I believe in him, man. I think he could get us there. We just got to build around him, man. He's carrying the team on his back right now, and it's tough for him. I hope we don't waste his career because that guy he deserves a lot.
Yeah.
He's a great player, so we'll see.
Well, you may be wasting Keenan Allen's prime years, but I'm loving it for fantasy. So
Hey,
let's
he's
go.
killing
Let's
it
keep
right
it
now,
going,
man. He's
man.
killing it for you.
Let's keep it going. Moving that championship. Don't worry, Keenan. We're gonna win one championship this year. We're going for it.
uh, yeah, this was interesting for me as a fantasy manager going into this game because I had Austin Eckler and I had Justin Herbert in one of my leagues. I also had David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs in the same league, and I was wondering who I should start. And that
That's a
was
good
big for
problem
me.
right there.
That is a good problem, but it was a big decision for me. And I just thought, especially in the beginning of the year, they didn't really use even after they had a taste of Jahmyr Gibbs, they didn't really use him. So I started David Montgomery, and luckily he had a touchdown and 106 over 100-yard game, 1 TD, 12 carries, had a great game. They both did, but I think moving forward, I'm going to be starting Jahmyr Gibbs. Maybe looking into it a little bit closer, just because he seems to be that more all-around complete back. David Montgomery definitely seems to be the rushing back, but Gibbs just seems like the overall back. And then also had Amon St. Brown, 8 receptions, 156 yards, 1 TD, and one of my leagues. So it was a great game, good for fantasy all around, right? All these players had great numbers for fantasies, and it was a high scoring game. So can't be mad at a good game. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will move on to the Bills and the Broncos. This was a surprising upset for everyone, including the Bills. Broncos took it over 24 to 22. The Bills fall to 5-5. They now fall out of playoff contention, and they're still in contention. But I mean, like they're not. If playoffs were to end today, they wouldn't make playoffs. Broncos are 4 and Okay, Broncos are 4-5, and it's good to see that they still have that drive and motivation to go out there and play every Sunday. And it looks like Russell Wilson was getting it done through the air, almost 200 yards, 193. He did have 2 touchdowns with only 23 completions, so some good work through the air. Javonte Williams, 21 carries, and a touchdown on the day. Cortland Sutton, 8 receptions, 53 yards, 1 touchdown. So I think they're spreading the ball around quite a bit. Cortland Sutton had some spectacular end zone catches, some great highlights in that regard. And then I think Josh Allen just it wasn't his game. Wasn't his usual 356-yard game with 2 to 3 touchdowns, one of them being rushing. It's not the Josh Allen that we're typically accustomed to seeing. 15 completions, 177 yards, 1 touchdown, but 2 interceptions. And I think that's why this game was so close.
The Madden curse is getting him, man.
Yeah, definitely. I'll turn it over to you, Jacob. Did you catch this game? If so, what were some of your
Yeah, man,
thoughts on
that end of that game with the 12 man on the
the
field goal,
field?
that's just a tough way to lose a game. But I like my guy Javonte Williams. He's getting big carries. He's starting to pick up from his injury from last year, and I think he's starting to become healthy, and he's becoming a good player right now. And then yeah, it's weird, but Josh Allen's been going. I don't know what's happening to him this season. It's just he's not looking as good as he usually was, and it's kind of a upset that or just yeah, it's just weird in general that the Bills are 5-5 this season. A lot of people picked them as
Mm-hmm.
their Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, but yeah, the Broncos are starting to pick up. I mean, it's kind of sucks because the Chargers might be last in the AFC West now, but the Broncos are looking a little better now. Um, yeah, and then the defense still, I mean, kind of. I mean, they kind of held the Bills down a little bit, but yeah, we'll see how these two teams turn out.
Yeah. Thoughts on this one, Savvy Sav, and what does this mean for playoffs for the Bills looking forward?
I don't think the Bills are out of it, but clearly there's some issues. And I know they just fired their offensive coordinator, so the hope is that maybe they can adjust things. I think Josh Allen, he's leading the league in interceptions. He has that issue, and he likes to play hero ball. And I feel like he didn't need to play hero ball here, but he just made some really dumb decisions this game. And personally, I think they need a better number 2. I don't think Gabe Davis is consistent enough to help them win these games in clutch moments. And Stephon Diggs can only do so much, and once you start double teaming him, it's just going to be hard. So I think they need to do that. And I think the run game was okay. Like James Cook did have a decent day, which I was happy to see since I have him on the team. But yeah, overall, I mean, yeah, props to the Broncos. They're fighting for. I don't really know what the Broncos are fighting for, but they're out there doing what they can. And yeah, I think this is a win right now for the Bills, and at 5-5, it's going to be pretty daunting, and they're probably going to be a wild card team now if they can make it there. But always excited to see them in the playoffs. I think things kind of changed at that point, but we'll see how they do offensively with changing up their coach. So
Yeah, they definitely need a couple more weapons on that team for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Stephon Diggs he's. I mean, I think him on this. Oh no, I have him. I have him in another league. It's just like, man, this guy's not getting the numbers that he usually gets. But that's just probably why they just don't have enough weapons on the team for sure.
And there
Yeah.
might be rumblings he may want off the team too. So hopefully that doesn't be the case. But
Yeah,
you know him, he can be very picky with
yeah,
dogs.
that's
So.
true.
Any thoughts on this, Andrew, or kind of got the general idea?
Yeah, no, I think it was a good game, and I think the Bills have a lot to work with. They definitely have some motivation to go out there and win the last half of the regular season to be in that playoff contention. So we'll see how it plays out. But other than that, this wraps up week 10 recap. We had some great football this past week that we kind of talked through. We're going to move into week 11 matchups, top action. I'm going to turn this one over to Savvy Sav and have him go through some of the primetime games and other fun matchups that we're going to be talking about.
Yes, sir. So finally, our primetime games got a really couple good matchups, which I'm pretty hyped for. So going into that, we talked a lot about this division already, but for the Thursday night game, we have the Bengals at the Ravens. Bengals are 5-4, coming off their loss, and Ravens are 7-3, also coming off the loss. So I think both these teams they both need to win this game. And I think it's going to be a really fun matchup. It's going to basically be, can the Ravens defense keep the Bengals offense, slowed down? Can they hold them? And then the Ravens do just enough to win this. I think being at home, it's going to be a pretty good help for the Ravens. And man, this is a close game. It's a toss up. I think it's a 50-50 shot for either team. Um, Based off of how I've been seeing them play, I want to give it to the Bengals on this. I think the Bengals offense is better, and I think Lamar Jackson's been too, mistake prone to really take it and win this game. And I could see the Bengals coming in and having a good shot. They need this game more than the Ravens. They need it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bengals in this one. Jacob, who do you think
Yeah, I
got this
totally
game?
agree with you on that for sure. I think the Bengals are gonna pull this one out, and I think it's gonna be a big statement win for the Bengals, and I think they're gonna start picking up after this win for sure. It's interesting because they're the Ravens are what 3.5 point favorites for this one,
Mm.
but
Even at home.
yeah, but I think the Bengals are gonna definitely pull away for sure. And I think they're gonna prove themselves that they're still that team, or from the team from last year. So I think this is gonna be their statement win for sure.
Yeah, interesting. I'm gonna go against the grain on this. I don't think the Ravens lose twice back to back at home. I just don't see it. I think the last one put a sour taste in their mouth, and they're gonna come out there and they're gonna be on the attack and really be rushing Joey B and making him make some mistakes throwing the ball. I do think the Bengals are more offensively inclined, air it out type of offense. But I think the Ravens have that mean I'm gonna hit you in the mouth defense, and they're gonna put a lot of pressure on Joey B, and they're definitely gonna be rushing him and hitting the quarterback a few times. And I think that plays a factor when you're at that quarterback position. Another thought of mine is just the fact that the Bengals have to go into the Ravens, which is already a very hostile environment as far as Baltimore being at home in Baltimore. And I think the fans are just gonna take this over for the Ravens at a home game, and that's gonna play another factor in this. Um, it's Thursday night, it's prime time. I'm gonna give it to Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. If he can keep the ball and not turn it over, I think they have a real good shot at winning this and cementing the top of the AFC North for the division there.
I mean, it's probably gonna be tough for you. Just you probably don't want either team to win, but
I
He's like,
don't.
give me that tie.
Yeah, yeah. I
all
don't want
right.
either team to win.
Yeah.
Andrew's official pick is a tie, so
There you go.
hopefully
That's
this is
that,
on
that's your
other
official pick.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be a fun one. So definitely tune into that Thursday night and check it out on Amazon. And it's gonna be a fun one. So finally got a good Thursday night game. It's been a while. Moving into the Sunday night game. This one's, because of the Broncos win, it's a little more interesting. Vikings at the Broncos. Vikings are at 6-4, having a winning record and trying to fight for the playoff spot. And Broncos at 4-5, and like I said, don't know what they're fighting for, but they're getting there. They're staying in line with the Chargers, and I think this could be If Broncos take this, hey man, they'd be going at 500, and that could be an interesting run. Vikings have been on a really good hot streak, so it maybe is bound to have to come down to earth at some point. This could be the game where just things go wrong. Um, but it's like I can't not stop betting on the Vikings, so I'm gonna have to go with them again. I have faith in Dobbs. I don't think Jefferson is back this week. I think he's gonna be back next week, but I think if they win one more game without Jefferson and then they come out at 7-4, have Jefferson coming back, who knows what could happen, you know? So I think Vikings do probably need this win more, but I mean, Broncos at home, you never know. They played pretty well against the Bills, so I think it'll be interesting, but I'll give it to the Vikings on this one. Andrew, who do you got for this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna ride the Dobbs train, and I'm gonna go Vikings. If in fact they move on to 7-4 and they have Justin Jefferson coming back, they're in prime position to make playoffs and to go pretty deep in it and see where the rest of the season takes them. Broncos, I'm kind of in that same situation of what are you fighting for here? Like what are your plans? And I know the season's not over, but it's to the fact of are you doing this for for your jobs? Are you doing this for a better pick in the draft? Are you doing this like what is your plans here? What are your goals for the rest of the season and even into the next season? Just because of the record you have right now. I'm gonna give it to the Vikings on this one. I think they move on to 7-4, no problem. Tune in on Peacock if you guys are looking to watch this game. Thoughts on this one, Jacob? Vikings and Broncos.
Okay, I'm actually gonna go with the Broncos this time around. I think I think Dobbs is gonna get a little heat check a little bit, and it's hard to play in Mile High. And yeah, I know you guys are thinking about like, what are they playing for? Sean Payne, man, he wants to win. He wants to prove himself. I know he's probably all pissed, like he's not starting off the way he wants, and I think they all got something to prove. Russell Wilson's on his way down, and I think that's what they're fighting for sure. They're still trying to all prove themselves as like they're still those guys, you know. But yeah, I think the Broncos are gonna get him. This is my little underdog pick for that one for sure. But yeah, Dobbs is still gonna put a fight up, but I think yeah, this is a seat check game for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and looking
Yeah.
at the line, it's pretty close too. I think Denver's actually favored 2.5.
Yeah. Oh, I
Uh,
guess I guess that isn't a favorite or underdog pick, huh?
but usually if you're favored by 3 at home, it's a 50-50 shot.
Oh,
Like
it's 50-50.
they
Okay,
consider that 50 because they'll give you the 3 points if you're at home just because you're home.
go home. Okay,
So because it's 2.5, they slightly kind of
give
like
it
the
to them. All
Vikings
right.
too, but they still are considered the favorites. But I think Vegas still sees the Vikings as like even if they're not home, they still have a pretty good shot. So it should be interesting overall. I wasn't that interested in this game. Now I might actually want to watch this game.
Yeah. I think all the primetime games this week they're pretty
Yeah,
they're
they're
pretty
pretty
nice.
good. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
pretty good.
So I think
Um
that should be interesting. But moving into the best prime time game, in my opinion, this isn't just because I'm an Eagles fan, but just because Super Bowl rematch, two teams that are the hottest in the NFL. They are the heavyweights. They have the two guys probably in the MVP race right now with Mahomes and Hurts. We got the fighting Eagles, 8-1, coming out to the mean and bad team Chiefs, 7-2 over an Arrowhead. We do not have Taylor Swift coming to this game, so it's going to be a good, fun matchup. And man,
Even with both the Kelseys there, there's no Taylor
eh,
Swift.
no
no
Taylor Swift.
way.
I don't know if she's coming. Or
I think she'll
actually,
make an appearance. There's no way.
wait, I
She's
lied.
gotta come to this one.
I was given info she had a concert, but apparently it was canceled. So I do think she's actually coming to this game. So
She
never mind.
canceled a whole concert to be at the game.
I, I don't think so, but hey, I wouldn't doubt it, man. I wouldn't doubt it.
They can have their money back. I don't need it. Oh, the
But
power of that woman,
Oh my
honestly.
goodness.
Yeah, no, this is gonna be a great matchup, right? This is Super Bowl rematch, and they both are seating at the top of their respective conferences. Man, this is gonna be something to look forward to on Monday for sure. Catch it on ESPN, but I gotta know your thoughts on this one, Savvy Sav. Obviously, I know who you think's gonna win, but how's it gonna play out for me?
man, I mean, I think it's going to be a battle of defenses, in my opinion, and getting the trying to control the run game as well as controlling time of possession. And I think that was a big factor when they last matched up. It was who had the ball last. and the Eagles just didn't have their shot to come down and win it, and that's just what happens when you don't have control of the possession. So I think it's going to be, to me, similar with how they handled the Dolphins. It's staying consistent on the ground, keeping the ball on your side, hopefully getting some luck with some turnovers, and overall it's going to be a tough fight. I personally thought the Dolphins had more weapons than the Chiefs do. Granted, Kelsey, Mahomes are just a powerhouse themselves. For some, we can't stop these big tight ends. That's one of their biggest weaknesses. Is Kelsey is that's why he's so good against us, and it's definitely going to be tough. But I think this is AJ Brown's emerging year. This is where he's at his like peak prime MVP possible form. So I think he's going to be a huge factor with this. Sadly, we don't have Goddard, so it's gonna we're gonna have to lean more on him and Devontae Smith. Um, and yeah, I think this is Hurts. I think this is Hurts' revenge game. This is what they've been waiting for all season, and I'm hoping that with this bye week, they get in the mindset like it's Chiefs week. Like this is basically the Super Bowl. You need to go win this, and yeah, they're in their gauntlet right now. And man, I just tell you, I'm so stoked. I'm gonna be at home tailgating, pretending like I'm going to the game, and I'm gonna spend all Monday getting hyped for it. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a fun one. And win or lose, I'm still gonna be hyped for this team, and I think they're doing great at 8-1. And yeah, I just really want this win, man. I really, really want this win. But yeah, what do you think of this game, Jacob?
Yeah, man, they're both coming off buys, man. The NFL set this up perfectly, man. I think honestly, they might even, for me personally, I think they might run it back in the Super Bowl. But yeah, these two teams is gonna be this game's gonna be awesome. But like you said, I think it's gonna come down to defense. It's definitely gonna come down to defense. We'll see who gets hot, but I'm going with the Eagles. I'm going with the Eagles, Eli, for you. But I think they'll pull it out. I mean, the Chiefs, they got some weaknesses. I think the Eagles are just a more complete team. They got a better defense, and I think they'll get them. But it's definitely going to be a battle for sure. And I like this matchup. This is probably might be the game of the year, but we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think this is the battle that ultimately helps determine who's going to war on each side of the conference, right? And it could be these two teams here. They sit at the top of their conference, and um, I think the Chiefs won it based on strategy, a time of possession, and like Eli said, who had the ball last. And I think Andy Reid is just such a football genius when it comes to how long it's going to take to march down a field and eating up some of that clock and just playing strategy football. Whereas the Eagles, I think they are a more complete team, like you said, Jacob, where they have all the weapons and they're a battle tested team. And I think I think the Eagles are gonna come out on top because they have the better players and the more physicality. But the Chiefs and their play call and their strategy, it's Andy Reid. You can't ever count him
And
out.
they're all
So
at home too, so I mean, that's
yeah,
another
oh,
factor.
that is a huge factor too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's Arrowhead too. That definitely evens the playing field a little bit. But if the Eagles don't waver with that, with the culture of the Chiefs in their face, then I think they have a real good shot of coming out on top. Again, they both came off buys, so how they strategize is going to be a huge contributing factor into this game too.
Yeah, you see those Kelsey? They released like some Christmas song. I'm like, oh God,
I think they
I don't
did
know
that
what's going on with them right
like two
now.
years ago or something like
Well,
that.
Was
Did
that a couple years ago?
last
Oh,
last year they did. Well, the whole Eagles offensive line did the Christmas album.
oh, okay.
okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
so
Yeah. I just saw that and posted. I'm like, what the heck is going on? These guys just they got it. They got it all, man.
hey man, they're riding that fame right now, bro.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
Get your bag, get your name out there, become a staple household name.
That's right.
yeah. Brand image.
Exactly. Well, tune into that Monday evening on ESPN, and yeah, man, just looking forward to that, and let's see how they go. See how they go. All right, moving into some other fun matchups. We got a couple other good ones this weekend. First we got the Steelers 6-3 at the Browns, who are also 6-3. I think it's a fun matchup with two teams basically fighting for that spot in their division. Um, Overall, I mean, with the news of Deshaun Watson going out, I don't personally, I don't know if that'll make that big of a difference in this game. I think you throw in PJ and he could probably put similar numbers up for them. It's going to be a battle of the defenses and whether or not the Steelers offense can really get clicking, especially against one of the best defenses in the league. So it's probably going to be a low scoring game. And I mean, I don't know, man. I could see the Browns just not wanting to falter in this one. Maybe like they want to put it on their back for PJ and maybe put in one statement win that they can after beating the Ravens. Um, it's gonna be tough, since the Browns being home. Steelers are hot though, but I'm sorry, Andrew. I'm gonna have to go with the Browns on this one. Hey man, it's honestly, I think you guys got it, but I saw some. The offense was slipping up against the Packers, so it was a little rough, and you guys almost lost that one there. It was close, so
it's the story of our whole season, bro. But we come out with the win.
That's right. They find a way to win. They do find a
So
way to win.
this is how I think it's gonna shake down, right? I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think it's going to come down to last possession, and Chris Boswell is going to kick a field goal and put us over the top, and we're going to come out, second, maybe tied for the division of the AFC North. And I think it's going to be close. I definitely think it's going to be short, time of possession type of game.
You think there's going to be a fight? These two teams
hate
each other, man.
Very, very, very well likely. These teams hate each other, and on top of that, like, what I'm most worried about is we're running pretty thin at the linebacker position, and that's kind of the staple of our team is the linebackers in the line as far as defense goes. And I think we're running pretty short on linebackers, considering two of our starting linebackers, were injured over the past couple weeks. Let's say within 3 weeks, two of our linebackers took a hit and they're out for the season. So it's hard, but at the same time, I still think we pull off a win. I think we just squeak it out and get a field goal. We win. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we got to find a way to win. That's the name of the game there. What are your thoughts on this one, Jacob?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think definitely gonna be a low scoring game, but the Steelers and Browns are very similar teams. They got the decent quarterback, solid run game, and like really good defenses. But I think the Browns are gonna have to. They're gonna pull it out. Their defense is a little better. I think they're gonna get to Kenny Pickett this game. But yeah, sorry, Andrew, man. The Browns
The
at
hate
home,
is gonna
and the
hate.
Browns are also at home too, and I think the Browns are gonna. I think the Browns are gonna get this one.
Mark my words. Next week, hear me on the podcast. Watch. All right. We're gonna move on to the Chargers, who are 4-5. They're gonna be taking on the Packers in Green Bay, which are 3-6. Tell me about your team and your hopes of winning this game here, Jacob.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's a get right game. Like what's Michael got me with that get right game. We'll talk about that later. But but yeah, I think the Chargers are gonna get this one. I mean, they have to if they really want a shot at the playoff run. Um, Defense needs to show out for sure. But we'll see how Jordan Love plays. I still think that we'll be able to take over the game. Like I said, I want Austin Eckler and the running game to get going here. We can't just put everything on Herbert on this game. But I mean, it's probably gonna end up happening. That's just how it goes. But I think it's gonna be. I personally think it's gonna be a blowout. I think the Chargers are gonna win big, especially from that last game. They're not too happy about that last one, so I think they're gonna come back and get the Packers for sure.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I would say so I just need that game. I think they're obviously the better offense, and I think if they're, I mean, the Packers offense isn't much, so I think the Chargers D can. The hope is that they won't have to be trailing at all. They can just stay
Yeah.
consistent, be up the whole game.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, that's what happened with the Bears and the Jets too. We're
yeah,
up by we didn't have to put too much on the defense.
yeah. So that's the hope, and I see that happening. I mean, it may be a little tough playing over in Lambeau Field, but I think
True.
overall the Chargers should get it. And I'm hoping another big game from Keenan Allen. So yeah, looking forward to that one, man. Looking forward to that one. Hey, Andrew, who do you got on this?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to the Chargers. They're just a more complete team. Even going into Lambeau Field, I think they have a much better offense, and I do think it's gonna be a close game though. It just seems that the Chargers like to keep it close for some reason. and I think it's going to be a little bit closer to the game. I think the Chargers win by a touchdown, maybe 10 points. But I think it's going to be a good game overall, and it's going to be a get right game for the Chargers. It's going to be a pick up momentum for the Chargers, and really, depending on what the playoff picture looks like for them, it's one of those games they need to win. So I'll give it to the Chargers on this one.
Nice, nice. All right, well, tune to that one. I think it's on in the morning games. I
Yeah, I
think
think
10 a.m.
that's a morning one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that should be a fun one too. So I think Steelers and Browns are morning. So it's Chargers and Packers. So decent morning slate. Um, Move into I think one of the afternoon games. The Seahawks, who are 6-3, at the Rams for 3-6. I put this one on just as a divisional matchup. I always love seeing the Rams play just because of their playmakers that they have, and I think Seahawks need this to kind of stay afloat on top of their division, competing with the Niners right now. So I think it should be a fun one. And hey, man, Seahawks, they were able to make that comeback last week and take the dub. And Geno Smith ended up looking like how he was looking earlier in the season. And I think the Rams, I don't know if Stafford's back.
I
Hopefully
think
it's
he's
not.
back.
Hopefully it's not Wentz out there starting for him.
He's,
But looking forward to see Stafford back. Hopefully see Cup and Puka get out there and get some good fantasy days. And is Kyron Williams back too?
I don't know. That's a
Okay.
great question. I kind of forgot about him.
So if he is back, he might be. I don't know. But if they can get that offense back together, man, I mean, 3-6, you aren't completely out, and it's a tough division. But man, you never know with how bad the NFC South is. Like, you have a good shot at getting a wild card. I think you can still beat a lot of these bad teams. So you know what? If everyone's healthy, I'll give it to the Rams on this. I think the Rams can take it. I think this is the game they kind of need to win. I don't think Sean McVay lays down and lets their team just get pummeled every week. I do like the Seahawks out there, but I think the Seahawks can be a fluff team sometimes. They can beat bad teams, but I think they can stutter. And this is a divisional matchup, and even though it's in LA, but obviously LA games aren't really home games. I'm gonna go with the Rams on this one. I think the Rams could have a shot to take it. Andrew, you were shaking your head. What's going on? What do you not like over here?
Yeah, I just don't agree with the Rams taking it. I think they have the weapons, but I also think Matthew Stafford's come back from injury. He hasn't played a lot with, he hasn't played as recently with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. I think the Seahawks are a better team overall. They have a better offense, in my opinion. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Kenneth Walker and Geno Smith. I think they have a great offense, and I think they're going to go in there and make a lot of Seahawks fans happy and a lot of Rams fans sad. As far as the division goes, 49ers 6-3, Seahawks 6-3. It's very much separated, right? Then it goes to the Rams 3-6 and the Cardinals 2-8. So it's not like it's that, like, it's a close race for a divisional title for them. I think the Seahawks take this easily by at least a touchdown. I think the Seahawks just go in there and take this from the Rams, even at home. So
All right, I'm feeling confident enough. I'll make a pizza bet with you right now. We haven't done it in a while, but I think the Rams can win this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Eli. I think with all the offensive players coming back, I think the Rams could get the steal. But yeah, like Andrew said, the Seahawks are definitely a more complete team. But with Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, and Puka being on the field at once this time around, I think they'll get him. But yeah, we'll see how the injury affects Matthew Stafford. I mean, I don't know how banged up it is, how bad it is his injury, but we will see. That one's I think even though the records say otherwise, I think that one's a toss up. That one's gonna be a close one.
that one's going to be a good game.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it
I'm
is.
kind of regretting not getting tickets to it because I set my friend up with three tickets for it at really good pricing for the seats too. And now that we're talking about it, I'm like, really? I thought the Seahawks were just going to go in there and take it, and I thought I didn't think it was going to be a good game. But now that we're talking
Yeah,
about it, I'm like, that sounds like a pretty good game now.
yeah,
You know,
You have
ESPN
everybody coming back.
statistic on their stats, their matchup predictor, they have the Rams at 55% chance of winning.
Oh, wow, okay.
Even though
Really?
Seattle's favored by one, it's still a pretty big toss up. And I guess they give some. I think it's part of the injuries coming back too, and I think they just statistically like Stafford more than Geno. So
Yeah,
Kyron
I
Williams
guess.
isn't back until next week too, so he's not going to be in. But yeah, I think it could be an interesting matchup.
I
I'm
got
excited for it.
I got Puka in another league, so I hoping he get a couple touches in that game.
Dude,
Yeah, I'm
he's
hoping
been
so
a
too.
standout for the Rams. I'm not gonna lie, this season, like he's been great pickup for any fantasy manager
Yeah,
that picked him up and,
he
and
came out
kept
of
him.
nowhere. That guy
Yeah,
came out of nowhere.
yeah,
All right, well we
definitely.
got another fun. We got some fun matchups basically for all the windows. So if
Yeah,
you want to check out some football, we got at least some decent games you can watch, and then definitely prime time. Look out for those as well. So yeah, just gonna be a fun week of football, and I'm hoping to come back next week and go over some good down to the wire games. So we'll move on from our matchup predictions, and we'll go into the fantasy football coaches corner. So this is our first time having Jacob on. Jacob, welcome once again. But so we'll talk about your fantasy team in our league. This is your first year joining our league, and seeing that you're at 3-7, it's been kind of a tough season for you. I believe me and you are also playing each other this week, so this will be hopefully a good matchup to have each other,
yeah.
both of
You can't
us.
be rooting for Jalen Hurts too hard this time around, huh?
I don't know, man. I got CJ Stroud too, so I think both of them can put up a
Okay,
decent
okay.
fight. So yeah, man, just tell us about your team, how you've been doing, any notable pickups you made throughout the season, and
Yeah, man, it's been rough. This team. I always look at it and I'm like, man, I think I have such a good team, but I think the players on my team, they're just not consistent performers, And let's see, I got Jalen Hurts, Brees Hall, Saquon, Javante.
it's your wide receiver core, man. I think
Yeah, I agree. It's
Devontae Adams is having some bad games for you.
yeah.
Lockett is
I think Javante's starting to pick up a little bit, but I think Devontae or not or Javante's starting to pick up, but Devontae's the one who's kind of been killing me, man. He's supposed to be my wide receiver one, and then
Calvin Ridley
I
also not doing it
oh
for
yeah,
you either.
that's my team name too. I put a lot of chips into Calvin Ridley, man. I skipped over a couple of people to get him. I thought he was gonna be the guy in Jacksonville, but I guess it's who's the other guy in Jacksonville that's killing it? Uh,
Christian Kirk.
Christian Kirk, yeah. And I found out that Christian Kirk's like neighbors with Trevor Lawrence or something, and
Mm,
have this crazy chemistry going. I'm like, Calvin, really, you got to move into her neighborhood or something, man.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, he's it's kind of a bummer. Calvin Ridley hasn't been performing as well, and I know you guys. There was a bunch of people in the couple weeks. You guys were offering me a bunch of trades for Calvin Ridley, and I was like too stubborn. I'm like, I have my team name for him. I gotta stick with him. And man, he's been killing my team, man. It's kind of a bummer, but
I think we
yeah.
specifically had a segment where we said to trade away Calvin Ridley. I said to trade away
Did
Calvin
you really?
Ridley because I was like, I don't know, man. He's not consistent enough.
Yeah.
I don't like how he's been playing with Trevor Lawrence, and Kirk's getting way more looks and targets out there. So it's definitely tough. I feel like you got to write it out now. You got to just hope
Yeah,
that.
I do. I'm too invested now. I gotta write it out. But yeah, but I like my team in this league for sure. I mean, it's just yeah, yeah, like I said, it's just not consistent performers on here. They get you guys you could put in for sure and be like, oh yeah, these guys are gonna for sure get me 10. And and then when I'm looking at receivers, like I'm always having a hard time. Like, who do I start here? Like Cortland Sutherland, Amari Cooper, like Tyler Lockett, they're all kind of right around the same area for me personally, I think. And
Yeah.
I always have a hard time like trying to figure out who to start there. But yeah, it's kind of a bummer because I'm 3-7, and I think my points, I score a good amount of points, and I'm just getting killed. I don't
Yeah,
know, man.
you need this win too. I mean,
Oh, I
you
do.
dropped to 3-8. That's gonna be
Yeah, it's not gonna be good for playoff hopes, but yeah, let me get my get right game. I
nah, man. I'm
can't
on
let
a
go of that one by Michael, man. He shouted me out on that podcast, and man, it's a bummer because I thought I had that game against him, and he got that. I think it was like a Monday night game. He got me. I was
he
like,
was able to come back and get that.
I was
So
talking so much shit to him the day before. I'm like, I got you. And then, man, I spoke too soon. That's what I get, man.
ah, man, it happens. It happens. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
those some fluky games, some
yeah,
weird things happen, and yeah, man.
yeah,
Overall, yeah, it's tough, but we're
yeah,
happy that you were able to join our league.
yeah, man. I appreciate you guys getting me in this league. It's fun. I mean, you guys are in it, man. You guys like the football, man. I never seen so much trades go out and offered, and any league. You guys are just super invested. I like it a lot, man.
Yeah, no, I mean you missed our controversies last year. We had a lot of issues with vetoing and stuff last year, so
Oh, man.
we're trying to be a lot better and more consistent this year.
Is
I
it
think
Andrew putting down the hammer on those vetoes?
no, more so
No, I was
Andrew's.
straight trying to hand them
We're,
out,
we're the
and the
ones who
group
are
was
trying
like,
to. We were vetoing Andrew. You're like,
Oh,
fuck
yeah.
that.
I was like,
Yeah.
dang. So no one wants to trade. Okay, okay.
But
Yeah,
Anyway, we
I'm a
definitely ironed them
commissioner in
out.
the other another league too, and people are always yelling at me, man.
he's calling it out.
It's always something, right?
Yeah. It's especially that game last year with the Bills cancellation with oh
Yep.
my God, the amount of controversy. They
Yeah,
wanted my head on a spike, that league.
man. I mean, there's money on the line, man. It's
Yeah,
hard to
that's
beat
right.
that.
That's right.
But damn, all right, man. Well, good luck to you this weekend. Hoping it's a good matchup. And last thing I guess I'll say about your team, man. Jalen Hurts or Jared Goff this week?
Oh,
I mean,
Jalen Hurts for me. Yeah, you gotta.
are you
He's.
sure, man? Because Goff's playing the Bears.
I know
I
he's
mean,
playing
and
Chicago, but
it's a great matchup statistically for them. And
I, I don't know, man. Like you said before, man. I think Jalen Hurts is his revenge game. He wants this one bad.
that's
I
fair.
think he.
That's fair.
I think he's gonna get more points. And Jared Goff, he's good, but I gotta stick with Jalen Hurts. And I gotta play your guy against you, man. It just you
All
can't
right, I was
have too
trying to do
much fun.
a little reverse psychology on you there, see if I can get you.
You trying to get me out of there, huh?
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Good matchup though.
All right, yeah,
Tune
it's
in
gonna be a
next
good
week
one.
to see who comes out on top with that. All right, so I'll move in quickly to see some power rankings that I have. We kind of do this every week or every couple weeks just to update you guys. For the week 11 power rankings specifically for this week, me and Jacob are at the top, basically 1 and 2. So I think our teams have pretty good matchups, and we'll see how that all works out. Robert at third, still looking pretty good. He's been on a run. He's been playing pretty well. Michael at fourth, Jared at fifth, Tristan at sixth. Is that one Paulo? Paulo? Oh no, that's Matt. Matt's at
That's Matt.
7, Edward's at 8, Paulo is at 9, and Andrew's at 10, but only at 94. So he's within a pretty good score on it.
I'm like, we're all up there. We're all 94 and
Now
above. You know what I
moving
mean?
to the rest of season rankings,
Oh,
there's a little
thanks.
stark difference
Thanks.
here.
Yeah,
So,
there's a huge difference here.
so I'm at 1, Edward's at 2, Tristan's at 3, Jacob's at 4. So for the rest of the season, they do like your teams, staying pretty consistent.
Nice, okay.
Michael at 5, Matt at 6, Jared at 7, Paulo at 8, Robert sadly at 9, and then at 73 out of 100, and there's a 10-point difference between him and number 9, Andrew sitting at 73. So tough team right now with him, man. It's maybe
you know what's what's crazy about this? I'm in 4 fantasy leagues, right? And the one I do the podcast about, I'm literally ranked last in. And I'm so mad. I'm literally first, second, and third on all my other leagues. And this one I'm like, oh, what the heck? Because this is the one we talk about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Oh man, that doesn't help, man. You guys are talking about this every week, and it's like,
I
oh,
know, and I'm
man.
falling shorter and shorter. And the thing is, it's freaking Tony Pollard, bro. It's Tony Pollard. That's who it is. He didn't perform for me. And then that thing happened with Bijan where he just didn't play one game, and you're like, this would have been nice to know.
Yeah, did you see that there? You put him. Arthur Smith put him in a punt return, and all the people were complaining.
They're like, you told me to
Talking
give
about
him
his touches, like here's a
more
punt return.
touches. Here he's a punt returner.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. So moving in lastly to projected standings. So this will be our way of like saying, oh, where are we at right now with playoffs? Right now, projected wise, in the last 4 out, so 7 through 10, it's gonna be Robert at 7, Jacob at 8, Paulo at 9, and Andrew at 10. Kind of has you guys all around, wow, it says 5 and 9. So it really just sees you guys winning 2 more games. Hopefully that's not the case, but
Yeah, looking at this, what kind of punishment you guys got, man? Get a little concerned. Get a little concerned, man.
Honestly, bro.
we'll get there. We'll decide a little bit as we get a little further out. Yeah, it's gonna be tough, and I'm wishing you guys the best. Luckily, last year we switched over to a 16 playoff instead of 4, so still gives you somewhat of a shot. But hey, man, just looking at 12% chance. Who knows? See where you can get.
Did you skew the power rankings to give me a little hope coming in when I came into the podcast? I'm feeling
Hey,
good
man,
now, Brian.
I always wait until after waivers. I see if anyone gets a good shot or a good pickup, and to see if you guys move up at all. So I don't post this stuff until like right before
Okay,
the interview.
all right.
But speaking of waivers, we'll move into some waiver wire stuff. Did anybody pick up anyone that they're interested in? I personally picked up Ty Chandler in a few leagues because some buys coming up, and with Madison having his concussion, I think that the Vikings can get their run game established with him. He had a touchdown last weekend and a decent yardage, but it's just a flex. It's someone I need to throw in. I think he's projected at like 12 points. So hopefully, if Madison is out, then I can keep him starting in. And it's kind of been the main guy that I look to pick up. Other than that, I didn't really, and no one else was really on my radar. Jacob, do you have anyone you were looking into?
No, not really, because I mean, I have a bunch of players that I didn't really want to get rid of just yet, but I did look into Noah Brown. I was thinking about getting him, but I've been trying to trade some people, but no one's buying. So I think everyone's all salty that I was probably not accepting their trades earlier, and they're like, man, now you want to trade. But I wasn't looking too heavy on the waiver wire this time around, but yeah, no Noah Brown looked like an interesting guy, and then but yeah, that's about it for me.
Yeah, I think Noah Brown is an interesting guy. I think he really got an opportunity to shine because Nico Collins was out this game. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays back when now he's like, okay, we've seen what you can do. Who's going to really take that position out of those three? Because they're all, more than capable receivers for that team, especially being with CJ Stroud. I personally picked up Trey McBride from Arizona, the tight end. I think he's got a good matchup this week. I think he plays the Texans, so they're going to be passing in my opinion. Kyler Murray's back. I don't think he's going to be he's a gunslinger, is like going to throw it super far. I think he's a run around, make a play happen, and then get the ball out to somebody. And I think that's a Trey McBride type of person. I picked him up, and I'm starting him as my flex, and I'm starting Kincaid as my tight end. So I'm an interesting two tight end
Whoa,
combo.
okay. I like
Yeah.
it. I like it.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man. Gotta get everyone out who can get some points for you. Okay, so moving on into some of the biggest injuries. These are kind of some of the injuries that we've seen that just to keep an eye out in case you might have them starting. We have Derek Carr with an AC joint injury. He's going to probably be back in week 12. So expect to see Jameis Winston coming back in. Baker Mayfield had a ankle sprain, but he should be able to return this week. That's the hope right now. So it didn't seem too serious when we saw the injury. Alexander Madison has concussion, like we just mentioned. I'm not sure if he's going to be back this week, but if he isn't, Ty Chandler is probably the guy to start. So keep a lookout for that. That's if he clears concussion, so we'll see. Michael Thomas was an MCL sprain. Um,
But
it's
did he have some trouble with the law too
he did
off the
he
field?
did get
Yeah,
arrested, yeah. So
yeah, that's another thing. So
yeah, I don't really know what to think of that. I don't really know where you want to roll with
yeah.
Michael Thomas, but I would just definitely keep an eye on any news that pops up to see if he's going to start. But have a backup plan for sure if you do have him playing. Keenan Allen, man, that guy was getting so many catches, it got pretty beat up. So it did look like he had a slight sprain with the AC joint.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
that's his usual shoulder injury that he has. I mean, if you look at his post game interviews, he always has his like his joint sticking out from his shoulder because I
oh
don't
damn,
think he's ever got it fixed. So yeah, I think
it's just
I
a
think
con. He's
he's
like, oh
always
yeah, it's just flaring up again,
yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah,
sticking
whatever.
out. Like,
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
well,
He's I think that's his usual thing, but I think he's solid with that.
okay, good. Well, as long as he's still
Well, I
starting,
guess I don't know, man. Maybe I don't know, Eli. Now that you're playing against me, maybe the AC joint's not looking too hot, huh?
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping he can be able to keep playing and do just as well and productive. And then lastly, Deshaun Watson has a season-ending surgery, so PJ Walker will be in. That may bring down slightly some of the receivers on the Browns, but if you have them, drop them. Not worth keeping. But yeah, those are basically the biggest injuries that popped up. Um, I guess for the best or worst performances, just because we were running a little short on time, we don't have to go super deep into them. But I just want to give a shout out. My duo, CeeDee Lamb and Keenan Allen, both top scoring receivers last weekend. They just went off, had hell of games, and proud of them. That's my team right there. They're doing their thing. Also, Dak having a breakout game. God, they just beat up on those Giants. Those poor guys, man. But their offense was looking solid, and I think against Carolina it could be a repeat. So my opinion, start Dak, start CD. I don't think you'll be disappointed when they play Carolina. Um, Other than that, man, kind of just looking at the other teams. As TJ Hawkinson, we mentioned him earlier, had a great game. Jameer Gibbs with duo of him and Montgomery did pretty well. Tank Dell also had a good game with Nico Collins out, CJ Stroud going off for them. And then on the other side for worst performances, Trevor Lawrence, 4.1, just not having a good game at all. And thank God I picked up CJ Stroud because I don't want to start Trevor Lawrence anymore. Derrick Henry also 3-point game. That's pretty rough to see from one of your starting running backs. You definitely need him to put up more. Travis Etienne at 6.4. He's just playing against a really strong San Francisco defense, so you can't really blame him. That was just a blowout. Didn't look good for him. Saquon Barkley at 7 points, once again playing against a good Dallas defense. So guys, this is just matchups for all the listeners out there. Just make sure you pay attention to the matchups because even though these are pretty bad scoring outputs, it's more likely to happen if they're going against good running defenses or they have good coverage over them. But like Diggs at 6 points, I'm surprised by that. Thought he'd have more, but like I said, maybe they don't have the second weapon that they need. Diggs gets covered pretty well. Will Levis did not have a good game with Hopkins, so DeAndre Hopkins only had 5 points, and then Mark Andrews at 6 points. That's tough for one of your top tight ends in the league, especially with a close game, high scoring game like that. You'd expect a little more output from him, but it happens. So those are kind of your top and worst performances. Just want to run through those really quick. No trade fours or trade aways because trade deadlines are pretty much hitting everyone right now. Just know that Jacob is open to still trading, so hit him up if you want to get
Yes,
anything going
please.
with him.
Aren't we all? Please help my dying record.
And then we'll move into some shotguns. Still, once again, shotguns pending from week 7. So it's been about 4 weeks now, buddy. We're going to need you to get this. Edward, Deshaun Watson gave you a negative 1.8. Come on, man. Deshaun Watson's already done for the season. He's still need a shotgun for him, so just get it over with. And then week 10 shotguns. We have Paulo having started Jahan Dotson, got a fat 0. So he will have the shotgun for that. And then Edward starting the New Orleans defense, who got smoked out there, getting a 0. So that's now 2 for Edward. Edward, I'm looking forward to it. Please get your shotguns in. At least do one. We'll hold you to that, but try to do the other one too.
I want to give a shout out to you guys for that rule, man. I implemented it in my other league, and everyone's loving it, man. But we do a little punishment if you don't get the shotgun in before Thursday. You gotta do another one. So
Oh shit.
we got someone stacking it, and they're ghosting everyone. Like everyone's trying to find them, man.
It's always the
Red
worst when
alert, red
you get
alert.
all the shotguns. You're like, dude,
Yeah.
I hate my life, man.
That was Robert, but Robert's really making a comeback too. So
Yeah, no, man, for real, for real.
Yeah, who's the guy who's always sending in the chat, man? I respect him. It's like every Sunday, he's always shotgunning something.
Yeah, I think Robert has the lead right now. We'll probably make a tally by the end of the fantasy season and just say maybe who was the shotgun king, and say who had it all. Probably the worst fantasy manager too. To have a lot of guys getting 0s out there, but yeah, we'll definitely do a little recap of that at the end of the season. So lastly, we'll move into our betting segment. Just a quick recap of the last week's picks that I had. I had Pittsburgh -3. We were able to cover that. It was a very close one. I didn't think it would hit, but they did. Lions at -2.5. Also a very close one, but they were able to cover that. God, Vegas knows their lines, man. They can make these games really freaking close. So both of those
Almost kind
hit.
of scary, man.
It was very scary.
Texans.
Very scary. But hey, in my head, I saw the Chargers kind of losing by a really close game. So the Lions were able to pull out that one.
Yeah.
Browns and the Ravens, the under did not hit. That was a surprisingly high scoring game. Did not see that coming. So two out of 3. Pretty happy with that again. That's 67%. So I can live with that. Another one I just wanted to bring up. I hit my first 5-man on Prize Picks, which I was really proud of. I was able to bet a small amount. I bet like $10, but I won $100 off of it because I had Justin Herbert had a good game with passing touchdowns. Both had Keenan Allen and CeeDee Lamb. Keenan Allen having higher reception yards, CeeDee Lamb having 6 receptions. Amon-Ra St. Brown as well having over 8.5 receptions. And then lastly, my under was Kyle Pitts under like 37 yards or something. So luckily I was able to get all 5 of those right. I was really surprised. And yeah, just happy with the 5-man pick. And then for our upsets from last week, this is where you pick a team that's, I probably want to say 3.5 point underdog. So the upsets, my upset did not hit with the Jags. So I am now 0-1 on these picks. Andrews decided he actually had 2, but he switched. He had the Chargers at first, but then he switched to the Commanders. Doesn't matter because both of them ended up losing. So the upset did not hit for Andrew as well. So he is 0-1. The only one who hit last week was Michael. So we're gonna just combine all of our guest records together. So Michael starts it out first with a 1-0. The Browns win. So yeah, so those are the upsets from there. Now we'll move in really quick to my favorite bets of the week, and then we'll go to our upsets of the week that we all have. So while you guys think of your upsets, or go over it one more time, my favorite bets that I'm liking. I like the Minnesota money line over the Broncos. Broncos are favorited, so you can get a little plus money on Minnesota. I think they should be able to take that one. Should be, get your blood going during the primetime game. I like the Bills -7 over the Jets. I think the Bills have a comeback game. They just fired their offensive coordinator, so I don't know why when you fire someone, I feel like the team just gets hot. They want to take it, and I think the Jets cannot keep up with their offense. So I think the Bills easily win by more than a touchdown. I think they do over and they kill them for that. Lastly, I like the Eagles and the Chiefs over 45.5. I know we said it was a game of defense, but usually when we say stuff like that, the opposite happens. So I think it's going to be a pretty decent scoring game. It could get into the high 20s for both teams. I think their offenses are just too loaded. And yeah, I think the over could easily hit on that one. So those are my three bets that I like. We'll keep track and see how I do. I think right now with when I started this format, I got 2-3 the first week, 2-3 last week. So what is that? 4-6. So yeah, still staying consistent. 2/3 winning rate. So we'll see how this one goes. And then lastly, we'll move into the upsets of the week. I decided to choose the Cardinals over the Texans. They are a +4 spread. I think Cardinals can straight up win the game. I think Texans, they win. They can win good games, and they can also lose random games. I've seen that consistently throughout the season. CJ Stroud can be up and down, but with Kyler Murray being back and how they looked last week, I don't know. I think they want to try to get as many wins as they can just to kind of prove that Kyler Murray is still maybe the guy for them. And I like the upset probability there. So I'm going to roll with the Cardinals. It's a little risky one, but hey, man, got to risk it for the biscuit. Andrew, do you have your upset for the week?
Yeah, my upset's going to be the Bengals over the Ravens. I know I kind of said this earlier, but I think if I have to choose an upset, it's going to be this one just because it's going to be such a close game. I think Joey B has a good opportunity to go into the Ravens and squeak by with a win, or even start if they get the ball released fast into the receivers and the receivers can make plays, they're going to win this game. But then again, Texans just have or the Ravens, sorry, or the Lamar Jackson just has a unique dynamic play style. So it's going to be an interesting game, but the Bengals could win it. This one's just a toss up to me. But I'm going to choose the Bengals over the Ravens in this upset of the week.
Okay, all right. So my boy has the Bengals winning, and Jacob, do you happen to have your pick
I
for the
actually,
week?
it's funny how you guys picked both of those. I actually have them in both those teams in the pick'em for a pick'em week. I got both of those teams winning, but
Nice,
I'm
nice.
gonna go a little wild with this one. I think I'm gonna get Raiders over Dolphins, man.
Okay, okay.
What?
Keep
Keep the
the fire
momentum
coach
going,
chain
huh?
running, man. Keep that fire coach chain running.
Man,
I think Josh Jacobs goes over 100 yards, maybe 2 touchdowns. I think he's gonna have a game, but man, my friends are gonna roast me because I'm a big Charger fan. I was already roasting the Chargers, and then I'm gonna pick the Raiders right now.
you've seen the
But
spread, right? It's
yeah, it's a big. At
13
least
and a
yeah, I mean
half.
this. Yeah, I
13
think
and
they
a
could
half.
cover the spread. They could cover that
Well,
spread
no,
at least.
but they got to win it though. So you think they could just win it
Yeah,
Yeah,
straight up?
I think they're winning it.
that's
Oh, all right. I like
It's a
that's a
spicy
wild one.
pick,
It's a
man.
huge
wild one, but
That's a
they're
huge
running.
upset if they win.
Spicy
Yeah,
pick. Spicy
Yeah.
pick. Hey, man, if the Broncos could do it, who knows, man? I could see.
I know.
I could
I mean, yeah.
possibly see it happening. I mean, they have
We'll
maybe just
see,
their big
but
game.
The Dolphins are coming off a bye, so this one's a big one.
Watch they lose by 70 points or something. It's just another huge blowout.
Maybe I'm doing the reverse psychology. I just want the Raiders to lose, man.
Oh shit! All right, we'll tune in next week and see how this happens. And hey, man, if the Raiders win, bro, I'll buy you a pizza if the Raiders win. Okay, that's crazy if they do. It's gonna be interesting. So,
Uh,
all right. Well, yeah. So that's our betting segment. Hope you guys enjoy it, and feel free to always cash in. I think we'll try to do like a prize picks or an underdog thing next week when we have a little more time to plan it out. But yeah, so look forward to that, man. Hope you guys win some money. So we'll move in lastly to the trivia section. The question last week for the Week 10 trivia question: who holds the Eagles' record for the most receiving yards in a single season? And the options were Terrell Owens, Deshaun Jackson, Mike Quick, and AJ Brown. The correct answer is AJ Brown. He actually recently got that, and I think in 2021. So yeah, kind of a recent guy to be able to get that. And yeah, man, hype with AJ on that team. I'm really loving that he's part of that. So yeah, that was the Week 10 trivia question, and we'll move into the Week 11 trivia question. This is a Chargers related question for Jacob. So which Charger holds the record for the most passing yards in a single season? You have Philip Rivers, Doug Flutie, Justin Herbert, or Drew Brees.
Oh, yeah, you asking me this one?
Yeah. So if you feel like you for sure know it, you can hold off on your answer. But
Oh
if
yeah,
you
I for sure know it.
you
I
for
for sure.
sure know,
I'll hold off. Hold off.
all
Yeah.
right, all right. So we will let the listeners answer. Feel free to head into Spotify and the app, and the question will be there as a poll. So feel free to answer the question, and we'll announce it next week as the answer. But that kind of wraps up everything that we've gone through. Really great podcast, Jacob. Really happy to have you on, man. And
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, guys. It was fun. And I love the degenerate gentlemen's league. It's a great league, and thanks for having me, guys.
hell yeah, man, hell yeah. Andrew, you got anything left to say to the people?
No, just tune in, keep tuning in week to week for more exciting football and more amazing guests on air. Wanted to do a huge shout out to you, Jacob. Thanks for jumping on and spending an hour talking football with us, and it was fun, man. This is Alo signing off.
Savvy Sav. Peace out, guys.
There, guys.